In the near future, control of all prisons is handed over to private corporations. These companies are driven by profit and have no regard for human life, even putting prisoners in deadly situations for entertainment. One of the most notorious prisons is Terminal Island, where inmates are forced to participate in a brutal competition called the death race. It's not just a race, it's a blood sport where prisoners drive weaponized cars, and the entire country watches with excitement. The reward was freedom, but only for the one who manages to win 5 races in a row. On this particular day, only 2 racers remain on the track. In one car is the legendary masked figure known as Frankenstein, along with his navigator Case. In the other car is Joe, Frankenstein's oldest and deadliest rival. Just as Frankenstein is about to claim victory, his car's weapons mysteriously stop working. He quickly instructs Case to eject using a parachute, choosing to press on alone. Moments later, Joe slams into him, triggering a massive explosion that engulfs Frankenstein's car in flames. Days pass, and the story shifts to a man named Jason, a former convict, now trying to rebuild his life. One night, he returns home to his wife and young daughter. But what should have been a quiet evening turns into a nightmare. A masked intruder enters the house, murders Jason's wife, and then knocks Jason unconscious. Before leaving, the killer places the weapon in Jason's hand, making it look like he committed the murder and acted a finger gun at him. When Jason wakes up, he's immediately arrested by the police. 6 months later, Jason arrives at Terminal Island Prison. He's summoned by the cold and calculating warden Hennessey, who knows about his driving skills. She makes him a chilling offer: take on the identity of Frankenstein. Unbeknownst to the public, the real Frankenstein died in the last race. But because he always wore a mask, the organizers covered it up to protect their profits and viewership. Frankenstein is a massive fan favorite and a major ratings draw. If people find out he's dead, the entire operation could collapse. Jason is told he only needs to win 1 more race. Frankenstein had already won 4, and Brigvierde. If Jason races as him and wins, he'll earn his freedom. At first, Jason refuses. He doesn't want to risk his life again. But then Hennessey delivers a cruel reality. If he doesn't race, he'll remain locked away, and his daughter will grow up without either of her parents. With no other option, Jason agrees to become the new Frankenstein. He's introduced to Frankenstein's pit crew, led by a man known as Coach, who, along with his team, is the only one aware of Jason's true identity. They show him the deadly vehicle he'll be driving, a heavily armored, high-tech racing machine equipped with an arsenal of weapons. However, the weapons can only be activated on race day. Escape is impossible. The prison is built on a remote island, accessible only by a single narrow bridge. If anyone attempts to flee, armed guards and helicopters will hunt them down immediately. Coach then explains the structure of the race. It has 3 intense stages. In the first 2, the objective is to eliminate as many opponents as possible. In the final stage, the winner is simply the first to cross the finish line. Every racer is paired with a navigator, and for Jason, it's none other than Case, the same woman who once raced with the original Frankenstein. After this, we're introduced to Joe and the rest of the racers competing in the death race. Joe confidently steps forward and declares that this entire race is really just between him and Frank. The rest are just obstacles. At that moment, Jason, now disguised as Frankenstein, notices something chilling. A few prisoners nearby are holding a small device, a GPS tracker. It's the same device he saw in the hands of the man who murdered his wife. Suddenly, it all clicks. He realizes he's been dragged into this race as part of a bigger conspiracy. Finally, the day of the first stage arrives. Jason is given Frankenstein's signature outfit and mask. As he enters the arena, the hype around the death race skyrockets once again. The legend is back, or so the world believes. Coach warns Jason to avoid talking to other racers. The real Frankenstein never spoke to anyone, and keeping up the act is crucial. Inside the car, Jason secretly removes his mask. No one can see him inside, and Case already knows the truth. The race begins, and chaos erupts. Cars slam into each other, trying to knock their opponents off the track. But thanks to Case's sharp navigation skills, Jason catches up to the front, right alongside Joe. She even guides him through a hidden shortcut, helping him take the lead. Soon, the deadly sword and shield rules come into play. Any racer who drives over the marked zones activates their weapons. Gunfire explodes across the track. Warden Hennessey escalates things by activating the death heads, deadly traps that crush any car that passes through. Jason manages to activate his weapons, but the machine gun still isn't working. That's when Case bravely climbs out onto the car to fix it mid-race. Bullets rain down on her from all sides, but Jason pulls off a risky move, swerving to protect her just in time. He even activates the car's shield, but it only holds for a few seconds against the relentless assault. Eventually, Jason and Case manage to blow up Cold's car in a fiery explosion. But just as Jason closes in on Joe again, another racer named Pachenko enters the scene, pointing a gun that looks exactly like the one used to kill Jason's wife. The sight distracts Jason just long enough for Pachenko to take the lead and win the stage, and at the same time, Joe slammed his car with Frank's car, and because of this, Frank ends Stage 1 at 6th position. By the end of Stage 1, 3 players are dead, and 6 remain for the next round. After the race, Coach inspects Jason's car, trying to figure out why the weapons failed to activate when needed. Meanwhile, Jason storms into Warden Hennessey's office. He tells her straight, "I know Pachenko killed my wife." He accuses her of orchestrating the entire thing, framing him for murder just to drag him into the race and keep the Frankenstein brand alive. But Hennessey coldly denies everything. Instead, she shows him a photo of his daughter and threatens him again. Jason is left helpless, unable to act. Later, while working on his car, Jason spots Pachenko heading to his team's zone. Fueled by rage, he follows him, but it's a trap. Pachenko's crew surrounds him, and Pachenko begins to beat him mercilessly. Just as he's about to smash Jason's head with a hammer, a member of Jason's crew appears and distracts them, saving Jason at the last moment. Taking advantage of the chaos, Jason fought back fiercely. Fueled by rage, he attacked Pachenko's men, breaking bones left and right. He finally cornered Pachenko and beat him down. That's when Pachenko confessed the truth. It was Warden Hennessey who had ordered him to kill Jason's wife. Jason was seconds away from delivering justice and killing Pachenko when prison officer Ulrich arrived and stopped the fight. The next day marked the beginning of Stage 2 of the death race. Pachenko, smug as ever, taunted Jason at the starting line, mocking him with a finger gesture. But this time, Jason stayed calm. He didn't rise to the bait. As the race began, Jason deliberately held back. Then, mid-race, he turned to Case and asked a critical question. "Did you sabotage Frank's car?" He suspected something. After all, the weapons had failed 2 races in a row. When Case didn't answer, Jason threatened to blow up the car unless she told the truth. Under pressure, Case finally confessed. Yes, she had deactivated Frankenstein's weapons, but only because Hennessey had ordered her to. The plan was never to kill Frank, just to ensure he didn't win and get released. But Frank died anyway while trying to survive. Hearing this, Jason refocused and rejoined the race. This time, locked in a deadly chase with Pachenko, Jason raced ahead and triggered the weapon activation marker. The others were puzzled. How could he use weapons on someone behind him? Jason had a plan. With a quiet smirk, he forcefully spun the car around and started driving in reverse at full speed, raining bullets on Pachenko's car. Then, flipping the car back around, he released a thick cloud of smoke, blinding Pachenko's vision. The distraction worked. Pachenko crashed violently. Jason stepped out of his car, walked over, and without hesitation, snapped Pachenko's neck, finally avenging his wife's murder. Now only Jason and Joe remained in the race. But before they could settle the score, Hennessey unleashed her deadliest weapon yet, a monstrous armored vehicle called Weapon 1, something she'd been secretly preparing for months. As soon as it entered the track, Weapon 1 destroyed 2 racers in a single massive explosion. It kept moving, obliterating another car within seconds. Its next targets were clear: Jason and Joe. Realizing they couldn't survive alone, Jason contacted Joe over the radio and suggested they team up. Joe agreed. Together, they launched a coordinated attack, both cars hammering Weapon 1 from both sides. As the unstoppable truck approached the death head trap, Jason and Joe lured it in, then drove straight over the trap themselves. 2 vehicles from Frank's car and 2 from Joe's car enabled that death trap. The heavy truck couldn't escape in time and was crushed and destroyed instantly. With that, Stage 2 came to a dramatic end. While Jason was preparing for the final race, Warden Hennessey and Officer Ulrich secretly decided he had to be eliminated. They knew no prisoner had ever been allowed to win 5 consecutive races, and they weren't about to let Jason become the first. Ulrich planted a hidden bomb inside Jason's car, ready to detonate at the push of a button. But Jason had sensed this all along. He asked his crew to fill the reserve tank of his car with oil, not for racing, but as part of a risky escape plan. Just before the race, Hennessey handed Jason his release papers and tried to manipulate him by suggesting he continue as Frankenstein, even if he won. Jason said nothing. He simply took the papers and walked away. Moments before the race, Case told Jason the truth. Hennessey had ordered her not to let him win. Jason, undeterred, stayed focused on his plan. As the race began, only Joe's weapons were activated, and he began launching attacks on Jason. Missiles flew, explosions lit up the track, but Jason narrowly dodged them, leading the rockets straight into a section of the prison wall. The blasts tore it open. In that moment, Joe and Jason executed their real plan, escaping through the wreckage. Hennessey, realizing what had happened, sent police and helicopters after them and pressed the button to detonate Jason's car. But the car didn't explode. The coach had secretly removed the bomb. Jason and Joe made it to the bridge with police closing in fast. Jason then leaked oil from his reserve tank, creating a fiery explosion that wiped out the pursuing vehicles. Both racers made it across the bridge and split up to throw off their trackers. Meanwhile, Case made a bold decision. Since she now had her release papers too, she chose to help Jason one last time. As they passed through a dark tunnel, Jason jumped out and hid while Case took his place in the car, fully dressed in Frankenstein's outfit. A wall of fire from the helicopters forced the car to stop. Case surrendered, allowing herself to be taken back to the prison. No one suspected the switch. They believed Jason had been caught. Back at the prison, Hennessey and Ulrich celebrated what they thought was a victory. But when Hennessey opened a small metal box, she found the same bomb that had been removed from Jason's car. In that chilling moment, the coach activated the detonator, and the bomb exploded, killing both Hennessey and Ulrich instantly. 6 months later, Jason and Joe had built a peaceful life together. Running a small car repair shop, Jason was finally reunited with his daughter, free at last. One day, Case pulled up in a brand new car to visit them. She had been released too, and now, the 3 of them could finally start over. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome recaps like this. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.